In this video, we are going to take a look at how to determine if a polynomial has a particular factor using synthetic division, whether it's a factor or not, and also how is that connected to the value of the function at that x value. So in my case, I've got x to the fourth, which is a fourth degree polynomial, minus 72x squared minus 78x minus 27. So I need to determine if x minus 9 is a factor. So the first thing you need to remember is that whenever you're determining if x minus 9 is a factor, that corresponds to x minus 9 equals 0, and solving that for x will give you x equals positive 9. So you are trying to figure out, is 9 a 0 of this polynomial, which is the same thing as saying that x minus 9 is its factor. So note how we're going to need to switch the sign here. So we're not putting negative 9, we are putting 9. Okay, just to try to figure it out. Okay. The next thing we're going to do is the first row of synthetic division would just be the coefficients of the terms. So x to the fourth, the coefficient of it, well, we don't have any, so that's going to be 1. So that goes here. Then for x squared, we got negative 72, so that will be in the blank over here. The next one will be okay, so I just made a mistake. Here's what the mistake is. If you are listing the numbers, so remember that you have to have some number for x to the fourth, some number for x to the third, some number for x to the second, some number for x, and just a number. And notice how there was no x cubed. And so if I put negative 72 here, that would correspond to x cubed. So that's not correct. So actually that should go here. That corresponds to x squared. But there was no x cubed there at all. And because of that, I have to put a 0. So be careful. Sometimes there are terms that are not there. In that place, you need to put a 0. For x, I've got negative 78, and the number is negative 27. Okay, so the first step in synthetic division is to bring down the number over here, and we're just bringing it down, and that's it. Then we're gonna multiply whatever we have, whatever we got, by the number in the box. So 1 times 9, that would be 9, and that goes in this box right here. Then we add up 0 and 9, and we will get 9. Okay? The next one is we take this number right here and multiply again by the number in the box. So 9 multiplied by 9, that's 9 squared, or 81. And now we add up negative 72 and 81, which is the same thing as saying 81 minus 72, so that should be 9. Okay, now again, we multiply 9 times 9, that's 81, that goes here. Let's add up negative 78 and 81, that is 3. And finally, 3 times 9 is going to be positive 27. And as we add up negative 27 and positive 27, we get 0. So we are done dividing by x minus 9, and our remainder is this last number, and that is 0. Now, how do you figure out what is the quotient? So when you had your synthetic division, so you had 1, 0, negative 72, negative 78, negative 27, you did the synthetic division. Here you brought this one down. Here you got a 9, here you got a 9, this is a 3, this is a 0. Okay, so at this point, I want you to forget about the remainder and reduce the original power by 1. So remember that the degree of this polynomial was 4, because 4 is the highest power of x here, right? And so when you divide it by x minus 1, you took away 1 degree. Think of it as just 1, because it's x minus 9 is just like 1 factor. So the resulting polynomial when you divide it should be cubic. So this means that this particular term would correspond to x cubed. This guy will correspond to x squared. This guy will correspond to x, and this would be just the number. Okay, so let me write down that would be my quotient. So this is going to be x cubed. So it's always one less than the polynomial you started with. So that's 9x squared plus 9x plus 3. That's the quotient. Now, if I want to find the value of f at 9, it turns out that that should be the remainder. So the remainder is 0, so this should be 0. But I am going to check and see if that's right. So just to check my work, I'm going to open up a calculator and I want to plug in 9 into the original function. So the way I do it, I'm just going to replace each x by parentheses. Okay, so I'm just going to type it like that. And now I'm going to stick that 9 inside the parentheses and see what I get. So you can see that I got 9. When I got 9, I got a 0 in the answer. So that confirms that my synthetic division is correct. And that also confirms that, yes, x minus 9 is a factor of f of x.